here at T-Fusion Steakhouse, Marine Park section of Brooklyn, New York, with my good friend, executive chef Daniel Rivera.
What's up?
What's up? Thank you so much for joining me tonight.
Thank you.
Summer season is upon us, and that means grilling season.
It is.
How do I grill the perfect steak? So right now, I'm going to ask you to show us all how to grill the perfect steak.
Okay, well, first off, most importantly, when looking for a steak in your local butcher or your local supermarket, you're looking for marble. You don't need a rub, you just need simple salt and pepper.
Whoa, did you say just simple salt and pepper?
Simple salt and pepper. Most importantly, the type of salt. It's not necessarily kosher salt, because even though it's great for everything else, something on a beautiful steak like this, we want to go with something more coarse, and we want to go with a coarse sea salt. I actually add my pepper at the end, especially when it comes to charcoal. What happens is, salt has a much higher point of pretty much dissolving into that steak. If I put pepper, it's gonna scorch and really ruin the flavor of that beautiful fresh pepper. So I wait to the end to season with pepper. Now we're going on the grill.
Let's put that on the barbie.
So on a grill like this, essentially, I would expect, after heating up your grill at home, to have a hot side, a medium side, and a cooler side. On a grill like this, the bottom here is the hottest point. This is medium high heat, and this is my low point where I'll actually finish my steak. In order to get perfect hash marks, we're going to begin at 10 o'clock. When we move it to a 2 o'clock position, we're going to move it to another part of the grill, because that essentially is hotter than where we actually began the steak. The actual bars here have actually cooled down when we put that steak on.
How many minutes would you leave it on the grill for, depending what temperature you like?
So really, cooking comes down to a science. It's really not about time. And that's why I always carry this essential tool on my shoulder, which is the thermometer. So as chefs, we work on visual and we work on a thermometer.
You work on touch as well?
We do work on touch as during service, and as pros, we do work as touch. But at home, I don't expect anybody to get the touch sensation down exactly yet. Especially when the steak is tied, the protein has come together and it's much more firmer. So in a case like this, where the protein is tied, we're actually going to be utilizing a thermometer. So now, I can see right now some caramelization beginning around the edge of the steak, and that's exactly what I'm looking for. Don't be afraid to take a peek and see exactly what's happening. All right? Now we're going.
Smells delicious.
We're going to be lifting this off, and we're moving now to a 2 o'clock position. And there we have perfect hash marks.
Oh wow!
And caramelization has begun right around the steak. All the bubbling there is what we call the caramelization part. The hash marks are there. Got these beautiful diamond hash marks.
How do you enjoy eating your meats? What temperature do you like it at?
So to be quite honest, I feel that every steak deserves its desired temperature. And if I see that I have a fattier steak, I won't go anything, on any steak I won't ever go past medium. But for some steaks it's actually okay to go with medium. On something like this, because there is a lot of connective tissue, because we have the eye here and then we have what we call the surprise steak over here, which is the ribeye, which is the cap. Excuse me, the cap on the rib, the crescent. This is a softer piece, while essentially this is more going to be towards the leaner piece. The reserve, which we know we cut essentially from the cap of the rib, will pretty much be beautiful at any temperature because of its grain and because of its amount of connective tissue and fat. So now I got my beautiful hash marks on both sides, and I'm going to finish this steak on a cooler side of the grill. And now is where timing becomes part of your second nature. You kind of want to make sure you're constantly turning on each side evenly. About 2 minutes and 2 minutes again. And essentially what I'm going to do about after these first 4 minutes, I'm going to probe it with my thermometer and get an internal temperature reading.
What temperature would you want the internal temperature reading to be?
So for a steak like this, because it's not too thick, but it's just essentially right, I'm going to go for a perfect medium rare. Now, I'm pretty sure if everybody went online right now and they look for a medium rare, they're going to see that a perfect medium rare is 135 degrees. Here at T-Fusion, we actually pull that steak at 110 to 115 degrees. We allow those steaks to rest and carry over. And even when it's at the table, it will never be at 135 degrees. I'm essentially aiming for 120 to 125. And the reason for that is that in kosher, something that I've discovered while working in kosher and a little bit of scientific, we understand what the word or term is myoglobin. Now, myoglobin is the water a muscle is made up of mostly water. So people, when they cut into the steak, oh, the steak is bloody. It's not blood. It's called myoglobin. So it's a protein that's actually draining out from that steak. And there's different types of myoglobin. You have oxymyoglobin, deoxymyoglobin, and myoglobin. Now, it's just really important to know that, because what happens when we kosher a piece of meat, we soak in salt. We soak it in cold water to soften the meat and pull out the blood. Part of that is actually losing myoglobin. So essentially, even if I serve the steak at 135, which is a perfect medium rare, visually it will not be a medium rare because of the koshering process. Now, all that myoglobin, all that beautiful color and that redness was lost. Some of it, especially in the kosher.
The majority. So
the majority of it is lost. Not so much in ribeyes, but still, essentially, when we send out steaks that are if I were to send out a steak at 135 degrees, I will get that steak sent back because it does not visually look medium rare. And what we're doing here, we're going to probe this, and we want to go into the thickest part. And we want to go in from the side. We won't want to be doing this. We're going to go in from the side.
What does it read over there?
We're going right now, as it's dropping, we're at, I would say, an easily 103 degrees.
103
right?
it says.
So we're going to go for a few more minutes. I'm going to go exactly 2 minutes each side again. And after that point, very important to do this at any steak you do at home, is let the steak rest. Let it rest. You know, don't cover it in foil. Just take it off the grill, put it on a rack. So a rack is essentially a sheet pan with a rack on top, a cooling rack that we use for cookies. Anything would be perfect because
how long would you
air would circulate around.
How long would you say to leave it on the rack for?
We're doing 5 minutes. It is a perfect amount of time.
So what you're saying is, we do everything you tell us.
Yep.
We take it off the grill. Now, before we sit down at the table and start cutting
it
up,
right into it. The worst thing you could do. All those juices will run right out.
So the best thing is to let it rest on the rack.
We're allowing it to rest so the actual temperature continues to carry over and all those amazing juices actually reconstitute right back in the meat and you don't end up losing them.
So I don't know about the meat resting, but I don't know how you do it all day, but standing in front of this grill for like 10 minutes right now, I need a rest. Forget the meat.
So it's amazing.
This is like I'm schwitzing.
Yeah, I'm definitely schwitzing. I'm going to let this actually rest on a plate. And once again, if you're at home, invest in a very inexpensive cookie cooling rack with another quarter size sheet pan. These are quarter size, they have half sizes. You know, just let it rest. And that way the air circulates around it. In this case, contradicting myself, I will put it on a plate. And I'm going to actually let this rest. And that is essentially the most important part, is letting that steak rest.
At the end also you said a little bit of cracked pepper
on so what happens is, I would crack some fresh pepper on this, really simple and awesome. If you got one of these grinders, you know, be in control of that fine grind or coarse grind, whatever your liking is, just get some fresh pepper on there. That way it stands out and it's delicious.
That's right, man. It looks delicious. It smells delicious. We're going to sit down and have a late night, midnight snack of a steak in a little bit. Daniel Rivera, I want to thank you so much for giving us a few lessons over here and helping us out.
My pleasure.
Stay tuned for many more amazing videos coming up with myself and Chef Daniel Rivera as we cook for you, teach you, explore with us. Follow us on our YouTube channel. And you know what? Send us your questions, what you want to hear, what you want to see. We're going to be rocking it out this entire summer long. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Daniel Rivera, for teaching us how to grill a piece of meat. This has been amazing! Wasn't that clip amazing? Subscribe to my YouTube channel to get an endless supply of me.